Welcome to another episode of Hanging with the Huns with your host, Todd and Carrie Hun.
This episode brought to us by Old English.
Now what?
What's up, y'all?
Oh, is this the intro?
Yeah,
part?
I guess I could do the intro. Hey, welcome to Hanging with the Huns. I'm Todd, your host, and this is Carrie, my wife, co-host.
Hello.
And this is... I can't think of like a...
The legend.
my brother from another mother.
There you go.
Lost and he's found. It's been, how long? PorkChop, Mike Lentz.
Everybody knows
Like
what's
20
PorkChop,
years?
Yeah,
or I did.
Probably close to 20.
it's been probably close to that. Yeah,
We had
it's like a
dark
brother of
beards
mine.
back then.
I know. We had no gray. We're still fat, but that hasn't changed. We're not as fat anymore.
I put
don't
on a
think
few
so.
pounds. So I'm here in Florida.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Welcome.
I'm a Florida boy.
Yes. He's been
Or
living
welcome
in,
back, I should say. Welcome back.
and Megan's in the background, his wife.
My beautiful wife.
Yes. She's afraid of the camera. So, I don't know. I didn't really have any, like, structure or anything. I know you wanted to...
Do we really need structure?
No, that's what I'm
No.
saying. We don't need it.
We're unscripted
You might notice
anyway.
these lovely Old English 8-ball 40 ounces in front of me. And I've been looking for those forever because I'm going to make a gangsta lamp out of it. And so PorkChop found them on the way home in, where'd you find them? Virginia or something?
South Carolina.
South
Nice.
Carolina. So those are legit right there.
Yeah, those are the
South
real
Carolina.
deal.
They don't even make quarts, or no, they only make quarts, and I don't think they. I don't think they have quarts anymore in Florida. They just have cans.
Huh.
I know. So that's why I've been looking for those. That's awesome.
So have you actually ever drank that? Have you ever
Oh,
tasted it?
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah? I can
Yeah.
tell
Definitely
you,
had to.
I've never had it.
Yeah,
It's an experience.
I didn't even
It's-
think you actually drank them. I always thought you just poured them out.
yeah, for the homies.
We drank a lot of Hurricane down
Yeah.
here.
I think Mickey's Ice and Mickey's the regular Mickey's
Oh.
were my go-to quart. I would get 2 quarts of Mickey's for practice, and pretty much. But the ice, I remember the Ice House.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We used to drink those, and it would make us all like crazy, like angry. Like Marshall would be like having fits of
Really?
fury. Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's I don't know. It's something in the
Malt
brewing
liquor?
process.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the ice beers like Mickey's Ice or Ice House. I don't know. There's
That's
just
crazy.
something different. Puts an edge on.
Do you remember, while we're on this topic, do you remember Heritage beer from Publix?
No.
OBC used to bring them all the time to
Really?
the band room. It was like $3 a 12-pack. It was called Heritage
Dang,
beer.
that's cheap.
I don't remember those.
Yes.
I'll have to look that up though.
And speaking of ice beer, one day me and Jay, we used to dig the couch at the condo for change. We had enough change to buy a 6-pack, and it was, let me get this right, it was Schlitz ice.
Oh, that
It
makes
smelled like fruit punch
me, what?
and tasted as bad as you'd expect.
Yeah.
No fruity flavor.
I remember that's where we actually met.
The condo,
The condo. So like
97, 98.
when Filth was, they were a band, right? I think
Yeah,
they
they
were
were a band.
together
Yep.
when we first met, and Filth was playing, and then we ended up kind of borrowing, maybe. I don't know. I don't
the
know what's
band
going on
room?
with Filth. No, Jay.
Well,
Yes,
Jay
he was
in
playing
Jay was in
bass.
Filth until Filth broke up.
Yeah.
Then Jay moved to Kansas, and you guys were looking for another guitar player. I was working at Big
Okay.
City on Cassett. I was still in contact with Jay. So you guys tasked me with getting Jay to Florida.
See, I'm so glad somebody has a memory.
and I got in touch with Jay.
I don't remember anything.
And OBC was the biggest band in Jacksonville. There's no debating that.
Right.
There was big bands trying to blackball OBC because they wanted all the attention.
Right.
They were a Jacksonville-based band at the time. But yeah.
Yeah.
Jay was
were
down.
Good. I'm glad you got us Jay, because we love Jay.
Yeah, we love Jay. No, we're still friends.
Yes.
He's something else, though.
Jay's crazy.
So there's
have you
that.
talked to him lately? No.
Just through Facebook.
I did too.
Jay's still Jay.
Shout out, Jay. What's up, buddy?
Paw,
Yeah.
we love you.
Paw.
Yeah, so that's where we met, the condo. Phil.
Okay, yeah, I remember HR was... I tried to make sure every time I'd come over to the condo, HR would be there doing magic tricks.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome.
Do you remember the one...
Did you ever meet him?
I don't think so.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you remember the one that he did with the skylight?
Yes.
That was crazy.
How the hell
You told
did
me
he do
about that,
Yeah.
though. I do remember that.
I don't know.
We've never seen him sneak off to climb. I don't know how you get on the roof there anyways.
He must have... I don't know. It's magic.
Maybe he's a real wizard.
Yeah, seriously. Where's that
So
guy?
many.
Didn't he go to Disney or something?
No, he is a paramedic down in, I want to say the Tampa area, Tampa Clearwater, somewhere down there.
Sweet.
I still talk to him from time
Do you
to time.
really?
Yeah, he's
That's
on my
crazy.
Facebook.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I'll have to look him up.
Good old Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So, what else we got? We got, you want to tell your story a little bit, or you want to keep talking? I want to hear,
Yeah.
want to
I
hear
mean,
the,
we can tell the story.
what do you
Yeah,
call
I
it, the
wanna
bottom?
hear, you left Jacksonville
bottom to
and it
top?
was like, where'd PorkChop go?
I was the bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel. So, before this, I was the party.
Yes.
Not drugs, not whatever.
Life of the
but
party, yeah.
when our friends in Endo would come up from Miami,
yeah.
they would want to. If I wasn't at the show, they would want to know where's PorkChop at because we're going there. So speaking of that, in 2003, after my son was born, we moved to Virginia, and I was working at a tattoo studio, and one of the artists was going to Ozfest, and this is
Right.
back before the internet was real big. So
MySpace.
I don't even know if MySpace was around.
04?
03. 2003.
I don't know. Maybe.
It was just coming out
don't know.
around.
I think Tom was just having ideas.
Yeah, I think it was
about MySpace.
I think it was 05.
He's just taking his first picture.
Somewhere. Okay,
The one
okay,
that's
yeah.
still there.
So before
He was my
MySpace,
friend.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Okay, wow.
the tattoo artist was talking about going to Ozfest, and we'd only been there a couple weeks, and I was like, well, my friend's band has played Ozfest before. I don't know if they're playing now. Well, he found out they did. So I called Zelik, who was the bass player for Endo, and I talked to him. I said, hey, man, I'm up in Virginia now. We're planning on going to the show in D.C. And he's like, dude, I got you. Just
Nice.
call me a couple days before the show. So I tell him, we're going to this show. Well, then right before we leave to drive there, it's like 4 hours. I couldn't get in touch with him. He's not answering his phone. So no, like I look like the biggest liar. Like I just had us all access passes and all this. So we're like, we'll go anyways. If I can't get in touch with them, we'll just,
He's like,
pay to get in.
PorkChop block.
Yeah. So before we had a hotel, we stayed the night. We got up the next morning, but before we paid to get in, I said, let's go walk over by the buses. They had them roped off, and I'm looking. I see this tall guy with big spiky red hair. It was Eli, the guitar player. So I yelled his name.
The
He's
only
looking
tall
at-
one in the band.
Yeah. Well, Joe was kind of tall.
Oh, Joel.
Joel,
the drummer.
the
He
first
was
drummer.
super tall.
But then they got,
Yeah.
wasn't his name Joe, the second one?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I pierced his lip at the Slayer show that you guys talked about.
Like I said, I'm glad somebody
yeah.
has a memory.
Well, I remember that clearly because Mr. King was standing behind me
yeah.
when I was
man.
doing the piercing,
Yeah.
so it was pretty nerve-wracking. But I seen him, and I yelled his name. Took him a minute to realize who it was. Then he brings us on their bus. Surprises the guys. They were stoked. They all jumped up, And then they got us band passes. So
Zellick was like, "Oh, I was just calling you back."
no, Zellick wasn't even in there. What
Okay.
happened? Eli told me Zellick lost his phone in New Jersey.
Okay, well,
So
that
he
makes
had
sense.
he had an excuse.
Right.
The phone was getting sent to him at their next stop.
He was always
so-
getting in trouble.
Yeah,
yeah.
he was a
Zellick.
wild one. But yeah, so just a quick story on that. We ended up getting. I didn't look like a liar. We got band passes.
Right.
So even when Korn and Marilyn Manson came out, they kicked everybody out from backstage. They couldn't kick us out because we had actual band passes.
Right.
So I was a hero that
Sweet.
day.
Heck yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I was a pretty popular dude, I would say. I was a body piercer.
Did you ever go to any of the concerts that we snuck in backstage to?
We've done that several
Yeah.
times using laminates.
Yes.
We're
But-
we belong here.
But there's
Yeah.
two members of OBC that I think pulled off the best one. That was like NSYNC and Britney Spears
Oh, was
Nice.
it Squiggy?
and Mikey.
Oh yeah, remember? Because they got in. Her management or somebody got in trouble because they talked to Britney backstage. They like just
Yeah, I
somebody
didn't know
said
that
like
part, but-
yeah, somebody like just said, "Hey, how you doing?" And that was in her contract. No like
What?
Interactions.
no interaction at all. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah,
But
I
yeah,
would've-
they pulled
I
off
would've
the
totally
best
gone
one.
to that one.
I don't think
I
Yeah.
forgot about it.
mine were all smaller shows.
Yeah, I
But
did like Godsmack.
Nobody
and-
checked laminates back then. You just had a lanyard with laminates on it. They thought you belonged there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
you
said
have
you just walk like you just
Yeah,
act
well,
like
yeah.
you try
Act
to
like-
get me to do that sometimes, and I'm like, no, I don't have that confidence. I can't just walk like I
just
belong
walk
here.
right in.
Trust me, these guys are
I'm gonna get caught.
getting like low wages
Minimum
in the back.
wage.
The last thing they want to do is be an asshole, you
Yeah,
know?
or
or
check
get
your
in trouble or something.
check your laminates.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you
So,
just
yeah,
don't even show them.
I know.
hey,
Are
the
those
chickens.
chickens?
Yeah,
I was gonna say
that's what they when
what
they
is
lay
that
an egg,
noise?
they
Oh.
they go crazy. It's like the first egg they've
Yeah.
ever laid.
We got fresh
It's like they're
eggs.
excited
You
every
might be able to
time.
hear them.
I get excited every time I hear them. Yes.
It's a different dynamic in the day. We've never done a podcast during the day.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
always
they're
at
usually
night,
sleeping.
So the chickens are asleep, so we didn't even think about that.
Well,
That's
you know,
funny.
They're kind
I
of
don't-
cool to have in the
You
background.
probably
Yeah.
won't hear it.
Yeah.
even if you do, our lives
Yeah.
was a
No,
zoo
that's
anyways.
great. I love it.
But yeah, so I was a body piercer.
Yes.
Worked at Big City Tattoo.
Yes.
Did everybody's piercings. And when you were a piercer, worked in a tattoo studio back then, you were like a local rock star.
Right.
So you got everything. Then
I remember I'd come at like lunchtime or whenever when I was working at CJ's just to hang out with you, and you'd be like, "You want a industrial or something?" And like, didn't you like pierce me
Oh my god.
through both lips?
I
at
think
one
and
time?
there was a picture of it too.
yeah, and then
It was with a
you
fetish
did
needle.
like all kinds of like we just like yeah, go ahead, pierce me.
Let me pierce your elbow.
yeah, yeah. My what's that called?
I don't know. Surface
No,
piercing?
It's a funny word, like not Dermot, wiener or something.
Not a wiener.
No,
honey.
it's your brother always says it.
That's been pierced.
Oh, I know, Mike. Yeah,
Okay.
That's been pierced too.
But
Good thing my
I mean,
wiener-
I had my wrist pierced, like on the top.
Yeah,
My Madison, my collarbones.
Yeah.
Like we just did dumb stuff. I don't know why
yeah.
we did it.
We were
but
bored,
Yeah.
and we could.
yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Why
I
not
had-
put holes in
I had the
our
connect.
body? Yeah.
So yeah. So fast forward. That was '97. I think
Man,
I
he's
started.
even got years.
Well, I think
That's
that's when I
crazy.
started apprenticing
Yeah.
with Desiree, and then probably '98 I started working her days off at Orange Park, and then Tony gave me the shop on Cassett, which caused a big riff with some other piercers that were at the Norwood and
Really? They
Regency.
wanted that spot.
Yeah, because it was a moneymaker.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I was 21, making a ton of money, more
Yeah,
money
that
than I
was
should have.
that was like the first one. The one on Cassett was like the first one we all hung out with when Mike Carl.
Mike
worked
Carl
there.
worked there. Jason Thiel worked there.
Yeah, and what's the dude that had all the Grammys supposedly?
Oh, I can't. I know who you're talking about.
Great.
Skinny kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Like he was a musician.
But he was
I never
also
saw him play any music. And he had like Grammys on his walls.
Yeah, and he was
Anyway.
also like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a drifter
Weirdo.
kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like a
Transient.
no. What's the other word? I just had it.
Vagabond.
Yeah, that's it. Yes,
There's a lot of words for the gypsy.
gypsy.
Yeah.
I could see him being a gypsy.
Yeah.
But
He was
I don't
interesting.
remember that guy.
yeah, you wouldn't have because he was there for a little while in the '90s, and then he came back when I was working there for a little bit, and then he disappeared again. He was working at another shop
noticed
off like McDuff or
Damn,
something.
what was his name?
I don't know.
I
Maybe it'll come
remember.
to me.
I remember. I'm not even gonna say that.
What?
I gotta filter that one. I just remember walking in. Nah, never mind. I'm go for it.
Maybe that's the story for
Yeah.
off the podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know he was very into. Never mind. Let's
So-
move
Well,
on.
Speaking of weird stuff, there was Alva, who was the piercer
Yeah.
there before I was
Alva.
there.
Yeah.
And then he went to West Side
And
around the corner.
Bosco was there too.
Bosco was there when I started.
I remember
Yeah.
him.
Yep.
Bosco.
It was me,
He's
Bosco.
still in town.
Is he?
Shout out Bosco.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, he's down at the beach now. I think.
Last I talked to him, he was in like the Tampa area.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, maybe not. I thought he was in Jack's Beach. Maybe not. It might be. You never on Facebook. It's
And they
like
move
everybody
around,
seems
a lot
like they're
of-
right there
yeah.
next to you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I loved working with Bosco.
yeah,
I loved when Bosco
Cool.
came out to the bar with us too, because you didn't have anything to worry
No.
about.
Yeah,
weren't
right? Yeah.
Here's the thing: we never went out looking for fights.
Oh my gosh.
But you got to think, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, there wasn't a lot of people covered in tattoos.
Right.
So we were those guys,
Yeah.
and every dude that was drunk at the bar had to prove something, whether it was to his buddies or his girl that he's hitting on. So they would always start stuff with us, and it would end
Yes.
badly for them.
For some reason, me too. Like I'm
know,
like
it's
the
like-
nicest, most passive person in the world.
I was gonna tell that
Magnet
story
for fights.
before we
That's a
started
good one.
inside. Yes,
Oh
evolution.
my gosh, that's a good one.
that was
was bad.
That was when
So, like, let's
bottles were
talk about that
flying.
one.
That was terrible.
Let's
Going
talk
into
about
the
that one. 'cause
car.
That's a good one.
All right, so
I'm
yeah.
sitting in the car and there's a
So
have
let
a
me-
sunroof
Let me lay it out.
everywhere.
So Order by Chaos was playing at this club called Evolution. Well, the bands would play from like
8-ish,
8
9-ish,
till maybe
12-1.
midnight. I think it was fairly early, and then there was an after club. Back in the day, it was all the
You know, I never did that.
ecstasy.
Never.
Really?
Wow.
Because I think it's because I
How
was
could
always.
you not?
That's because I was always drinking
Yeah.
at the clubs, and I would see what was going on.
Yeah.
And, like,
you're
you-
oh my god,
it's a whole different
You'd
thing,
have
right?
some dude coming up to you, "Hey man,
blow me up,
blow
man.
my
Oh
eyes,"
my gosh.
or
Okay,
you'd
I know what you're
you'd
talking
see a
about.
girl and you'd go to like hit on her, and she turns around, her face is all greasy from Vicks
And
rub.
she's like,
Look like she has a tampon sticking out of her nose from the Vicks
my God.
inhaler.
yes.
So
Hilarious.
Like,
I seen what
grinding
people look
her-
like.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I can imagine because I do remember going back when and I wasn't on
Yeah.
that and I would see that. That is so funny. That's so true because
Yeah.
it's like these people are weird.
Yeah, I got to
Yeah.
see it.
So that adds to the story because
Oh,
that
that's hilarious.
so we had finished playing at this club and there was a long line ready for the after club with all the the kids in Jinkos and their anyway.
And the
So
glow
I was
sticks.
packing up my drums into the trailer because we had our trailer, and I had a Golf VW Golf
with a sunroof.
right here with the sunroof parked next to me, and I'm loading up my drums, and this crazy looking like redneck mullet. I remember he had a Camaro mullet. It was like almost like flyback mullet.
Yeah.
And I remember it very specifically
I've never heard that
because
before.
the
Camaro?
Camaro. It's
I was
You drove a
inside.
Camaro?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
I've
you
never
probably
heard
had a
that before. It's
Camaro.
funny.
That's the Camaro mullet.
Okay.
I don't know.
I
call
was
it
in the
that.
car.
I
the
call
Golf,
it a Camaro. You
with
were?
the sunroof. Yes.
I was inside.
I remember this
Oh,
very
so
much.
you got beer on you.
Yes.
Okay,
The bottle came.
Totally forgot that. So
Crazy.
So anyway, she is in the Gulf, and Not the Gulf of America, my VW Golf.
We'll be there this week.
Yes, that's awesome. So I'm watching this couple, this redneck dude and his little wife or girlfriend walking up, and they're like, he's like strutting like he just got out of his Trans Am, like, yeah, what's up? And I want to say he took his shirt off.
Sure.
And he was walking up to the line, and I'm watching him the whole time, just, putting my drums in, and he picks someone out of the crowd in the line and just starts wailing on him, beating his ass down. And I'm like, what the hell? And then somebody else made eye contact with him. Boom.
It was like
they started fighting again. Like he was
crazy.
there just to fight people. And these are like little club kids. They're not
Bad
fighters.
for him.
So he didn't realize who was there. But so anyway, me going through my head, I'm like, all right, Todd, just keep your drums, no eye contact, and I look him right in the eyes. And I was like, here we go. So he comes charging at me, like getting ready, pulls back his arm like he's going to hit me. I duck. He swings, like grazes my head, and then I like went off the curb and threw a punch. And after that, all I remember is I threw one punch, and it was like all the guys from the band came.
It was
like I
chaos.
saw came out and
So-
and got him. Was there?
Me and
everyone-
Rue were inside. I forget who was in
I
there.
remember a beer bottle,
Uh-huh.
full beer bottle,
broke
like
over.
bounced off his
Yeah,
head.
'cause the whole thing came into the car.
into the air and right into my sunroof onto her.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I was like, what? Really?
I thought it was safe. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? There's bottles flying
Yeah, so
everywhere.
we were inside. I think we didn't really, I don't know if we really dated, but remember her?
Oh yeah.
So it was me, her, Rue, and somebody else were inside. Maybe it was like or somebody.
We should
Was
probably
that her
watch
name?
names. I'll just bleep
Yeah,
it out.
yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
all
it's
good.
fine. So earlier that night there was an incident inside. So people were
I'm
already
sure.
fired up a
Always
little bit.
is.
Because
Right.
my dad had just passed recently before this, and I had his handy camcorder. So I was videotaping the show, and I happened to pan back, and I see choke slam this dude from one side of the bar into the back side of the bar. Like straight
that
up
was
and over
another
into the bar.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we hear Todd just got hit. We run out the door. Damage was already
I was like Gretzky.
pretty much done. Yeah. Damage was already pretty much done, but it was continuing.
Yeah.
I will not confirm nor deny that my foot made contact with his face a few times. My foot was swollen for about 4 days. after
Yeah.
that.
It was. He got like seriously like damaged. He
From
ended
what
up
I
in the
heard,
hospital and
yeah,
stuff.
from what I heard, he went straight from there to reconstructive surgery.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty wild.
It was a bad one. I was ready to get out of there. But that's just the things that happen.
I
Yeah,
felt like
all
that
the
was
time.
every show.
Yeah,
There
it was.
definitely
It was.
fights.
We
every
we
show.
had the friends that looked out to go fight. They wanted to fight, but the majority of us, we were just having a good time, but we knew it eventually was going to happen.
That's why I was always in the back. I stayed away from the.
Yeah.
I was
Even
like,
our
I'll just sit back
security
here.
guards got in fights. We're like, no, you're supposed to stop the fights. Don't start them.
Yeah.
So, even at CJ's.
Yeah, there was a lot of.
Every
it was,
night.
It was every time.
But
It was
luckily,
we were very aggressive back then.
Yeah, thanks.
I mean, we were,
Not,
but
not
we didn't.
necessarily us. I'm
We
just
didn't
saying,
go out
people
looking.
in general. It's like, because like we'll go out, we go to bars and stuff, and I never see fights anymore.
I
Ever.
know.
I got
It's
sucker
like-
punched like
It's
two
not
years
that it
ago.
doesn't happen,
Yeah.
but-
We were at a Brantley Gilbert show, and
Oh yeah, those country shows I hear get wild.
Yeah.
well, I mean, we never had a problem, but every time Brantley Gilbert comes to town or close to 3-4 hours away, we're going to the show. We like his music. My wife thinks he's hot, so we go,
Yeah.
and we always get pit passes so she can slap hands,
Right.
Well, this guy kept bringing a kid up to so he could get to the front. He just kept doing it because we were letting him. And finally, the people next to me, I didn't even do anything. Said no more. You're not using kids to get to the front anymore.
Right.
No more. Well, next thing you know, he's like attacking me, and I'm looking this way now. Next thing you know, I get punched in the face, and
You're like, that hadn't happened in a long
Megan
time.
was holding me back. The people that were next to us were holding me back. The other person was holding me back. My brand new shirt got ripped. It was a forget what it said, but it had something to do with Biden.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
FU 40.
Oh, let's go, Brandon.
Or
Right.
something. No,
Yeah.
it was more aggressive than that.
Yeah.
It probably triggered him, maybe.
I don't know.
No,
but
I think he was just being an
it got
asshole.
ripped. It was the first time I wore that shirt too, and it got ripped. But yeah, I got sucker punched a couple years ago. Luckily, nothing went any further because I'm beyond that. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to take getting punched
Too
in the
old for
face.
that.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of good times.
Yeah.
Good
Crazy
times.
times.
Luckily,
Good times.
we were friends with the cop that worked at CJ's because there was a lot of nights where people would
yeah.
start stuff with us.
Oh, yeah.
They'd get beat up and then they'd go to jail.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that was great. I forgot all about that.
Okay.
Tuesday night, the officer
yeah,
that was there.
I think he
was our
started coming on
friends.
Thursday too for karaoke.
I know Tuesday. Yeah,
That place was wild.
Tuesday was
CJ's? Yeah.
Tuesday was
My
quarter
bar
quarter
tab,
beer night.
My bar tab was always $3.21. No matter how much I drank, no matter how much I
Right.
ate, $3.21.
Yeah. That place is closed now, so you can
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
say my management skills were probably very,
Well, I mean, this is even
liberal.
this is even before you started.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
This was even before you were working the bar, like shucking, because you were shucking.
There was
Well,
also another one
I
on the other side of
started-
town, too.
I
That's-
started at
that's
when the
CJ's
incident
in Bay
happened.
Meadow.
Yeah, that's the wild one. That one was probably more wild than the one out here.
But
Yeah,
you know, I was the local body piercer, so
yeah.
you know everybody looked out for me. But I would tip them real well. They'd walk out there with like $50-$100 tips and stuff.
Yeah, that's why the place is no longer in business.
Probably. You're welcome. It's like a florist shop now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they've been there forever.
Yeah.
So
They've been there since it
for them.
closed.
they're doing good.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not giving away free flowers.
Right.
No.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, so the downfall of me, it was at an OBC show
CJ's.
at Calico Jack's in Bay
Bay
Meadows. It was David's birthday.
He has some wild birthdays, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So you guys were playing, and I wasn't even moshing or anything at the time. I was merely walking away, but they were allowing drinks on the floor, and it was like hardwood floors.
Right.
So when I took a step, my left foot was in something wet, my right foot was in a dry area. So I spun this way, backwards, and my right leg stayed planted. Over all the music, I could just hear
I
the
feel like it
bones.
was. I feel like you told me it was like the first song, like right when we
It was
came out.
Lick 'em Low.
Yeah.
That was the song, Lick 'em Low. And I got licked pretty low.
Yeah, you did.
So I could hear the bones crack.
Oh God.
And what's
terrible.
funny is, like 10 days before that, I was at Warped Tour. So I had a soft cast on my arm because I fractured my hand
gosh.
in the
gosh.
Snapcase pit.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I fractured my hand at the snap because Dave, the crazy one, always had to stand there, and he always had iceberg twister.
Which Crazy Dave?
There you go.
Oh, Crazy Dave.
There you go.
Actually,
Crazy
Crazy
one.
Dave.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Actually, that's how I got in.
Well,
He
we know
gave,
somebody. We know Rainbow Dave, Dirty Dave.
yeah.
Crazy
Ah.
Dave.
There's a couple dirties.
Yeah.
He actually gave me tickets for Warped Tour that year. So
Okay.
as soon as I hit my hand like I did, it instantly started swelling. So I went over to his iceberg twister, which was a kiddie pool with ice and water and a twister board on the bottom of it. And I just soaked my hand in that ice for a while. Then went to the hospital after the show, or the next day, and I fractured my hand. Somewhere in my hand, I fractured something. The guy's nose exploded, though, that I hit. So I was just swinging my arm. It was snap case, so it was a little more hardcore. It wasn't punk.
Right.
And, yeah. So I had that. Then I break my ankle. I know Flip carried me out because a couple hours after being at the hospital, he comes wheeling by in a wheelchair.
Oh, my
He
gosh.
tore his ACL.
Jeez.
A couple hours later, yeah. And I remember
That was a crazy show. I remember it was.
I wouldn't know.
It was so. It was completely like packed way beyond capacity. Because I remember the manager was like, we're way over capacity. I think they're gone too anyway. So.
Yeah, I don't think that's around. They did have good wings though.
Oh yeah.
You got to get the hot with the Caribbean mixed.
Okay. Anyway,
a little bit of heat, a little bit of sweet.
Can't
Okay.
get those
I
anymore.
haven't had lunch. Make it
I can't find those anymore.
We just had famous sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Steak in a sack. But yeah. So they carried me out. We're waiting on ambulance to come. Can we use nicknames?
Sure.
So Perm,
You
I
can
guess,
make up
I guess,
whatever
I guess my
nicknames.
zipper was down, and Perm was with me, and he was trying to get some ladies to zip my zipper up. I remember that. Then they asked if I needed anything. I told them I needed a beer. They brought me out a pitcher of beer with a straw. So I'm sitting on the front sidewalk
Man,
with a pitcher
if I had
of
a
beer.
picture of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, that'd be priceless.
So the ambulance comes. They like kind of soft wrap my leg up, and they're like, "Yeah, it's broken," because it was just hanging there. Like, here's my ankle, here's my foot. It just, if there wasn't any support under it, it would just drop.
Oh.
I broke every bone in my ankle. So the outside, I broke at a 45-degree angle like this. The inside bone, right at the ball of the bone, I broke it straight through like this. And then there's like a floating bone in the back that chipped too.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. That was my actual
Ouch.
first like broken bone. Like
Taking
besides-
vitamins now?
Yeah.
That was the fracture was like just like a little hairline deal. Wasn't anything bad, but that was I went all out. I'll tell you that. So the ambulance came. They wrapped me up. They get ready to load me up, and I was like, "Nah, I don't have insurance. I'm not riding with you." No. So there was a kid that worked at the Orange Park location, younger kid, probably 18, 19. He was at the show, and I remember he had a Volkswagen Rabbit 5-speed. He's like, "I'll take you to the hospital," because we went to St. Luke's. I don't know if it's still called St. Luke's. But I do remember, boy, I'm unprofessional. I didn't turn my ringer.
Is it
Oh.
Memorial?
I didn't turn my ringer.
Oh, I don't care.
But
Nobody cares.
so I found out real quick that he didn't know how to drive a stick shift. So I'm sitting there with
It's his car.
it's his car. I'm sitting there with my left leg under my right leg to kind of support it.
Oh.
And the floorboard's right here, and he's just grinding
Oh
those
my
gears, and my
gosh.
foot just kept slamming into the floorboard. So we finally get to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
They did X-rays. They set me up with the orthopedic surgeon the next day out of the Mayo Clinic. I remember they gave me a prescription of 20 Vicodin, and then they gave me 2 Vicodin in an envelope because it was so late, so I could take home. I didn't take them. The next day I went to meet with the orthopedic. He said, "Yeah, you got to have surgery." Friday, so it was Wednesday it happened, Thursday, then Friday I went in for my surgery. I got a plate and 8 screws on the outside and then 2 screws on the inside. They gave me 60 Percocets when I left. But before I left, so I was in there overnight. Before I left, the physician assistant was cutting off all the padding and about to put a hard cast on it. He looks at me, he's like, "Can I ask you something?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you crazy?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Well, you're watching me do this and you're cut from here to here on one side." I said, "Well, that doesn't bother me." He's like, "We also noticed you didn't hit your pain." I was hooked up to a pain medicine button and I didn't hit it. And I was like, "Well, I didn't need it." So he's like, "Okay." So before they let me go, they had to make sure I could walk up steps and stuff with crutches and all that stuff. I go home. I had a Chevy Silverado, 2004 Silverado, single cab. So my best friend's little brother was living with me at the time. He came and picked me up, and then I had them bring my bed because I lived in a townhouse. I had them bring my bed down, my mattress downstairs because I didn't want to walk up and down the stairs with crutches. And I had a VCR. I don't know if people remember what those are.
Yeah. 1900s.
Yeah, way back in the night. Well, this is 2000.
Well, yeah.
Because 2000 was a rough year. My dad passed in February. Then I broke my ankle. I was living with you guys when my dad passed.
Yeah.
Off Timaquana.
Yep.
Because I had to call Carrie. I didn't have a car. Carrie came and picked me up from work at Cassett, drove me to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I'd like my PlayStation
Oh,
back.
yeah.
sorry.
That's all good.
That's the time of the PlayStation. I don't remember that.
Dang it, I missed that game.
Oops. I'll find one in
No.
No,
my
No,
thrifting
it's
ventures.
okay.
we
and I'll
have
send
we
it.
actually
It's
have
okay.
one.
I got your
don't touch
address
it.
now.
I don't touch it. You know, we have one.
Yeah, so what happened after that? So I go home. They set me up, bring my VCR down, and they made me a 12-hour long. Do you remember 401 Video, the skateboard magazine? It was 401 Video magazine.
No.
It was just a magazine, but it was on VHS, and they made me an 8-hour long or 12-hour long one, so they didn't have to change my tape all the time.
Right.
But anyways, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the other issue. So it wasn't for another week before I took the first pill. It was like a whole 10 days after I broke my leg, and I only was taking half to go to sleep because the pressure was so bad in my cast where the
Right.
incisions were. To be honest, most of the time, my friends that were coming to hang out with me, I was just, here you go, here you go, here you go.
Right.
They were taking them more than I was. And being in Florida at that time, I was naive. I didn't know anything about pain
Yeah.
medicine. I had no idea. The doctors gave it to me, so I'm taking it. And they were giving me, the Mayo Clinic gave me 60 Percocets every month. And then when I was in 2 hard casts and then a walking cast. So they had my foot like this for a month or so. And then when they recasted it, they wanted my foot like this. That was
Ouch.
bad when they did that. I told the
Oh,
doctor
gosh.
I'd punch him if he did it again. Because he did it. He did it, and then he instantly released it and said, we're going to have to do that again when I cast it. I said, well, you got one more chance with this.
Yeah.
Because it was horrible. I like slid up and
Oh my
punched
God.
the wall
Ugh.
behind me.
Mm.
So they were giving me pain medication, and I was barely taking them. And then when they gave me my walking cast, I called it my Nike Air Space Boot because you pumped it
Right.
with like a pump.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I said, am I going to go to like rehab or anything like that not for drugs, but for walking?
Yeah.
Physical
Because I
therapy.
haven't walked in 3-4 months at this time.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, walking will be your physical therapy, and just take these. He gave me another prescription
Right.
of like
Well,
100.
that's how it was.
Yeah, that's how it was back then. And then,
You wouldn't go to physical therapy for that?
no, he just told me walking. Probably because I didn't have insurance.
Yeah.
I was a
Oh.
body piercer, you know.
Okay.
I didn't have insurance.
Walk and take these.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And
'Cause
so
they were
then,
plentiful.
after that, he sent me to pain management. And so I went to pain management, and they were giving me 120 Vicodin 10s a month. And
Jeez.
I didn't realize I had a problem for probably about 2 years. Because I just always had the pills. I never thought, I never put anything together. Like,
You're never without them.
yeah, I was never without them. And even when I was, I worked in a tattoo shop. We had so many people that worked at pharmacies that would come in and just give us bottles from the
Right.
pharmacy. Yeah,
What?
there was a tattoo artist that did my back. Real popular tattoo artist around here.
Yeah.
Who had bottles of them and just
Yeah.
here, just
It
give
was
me $100
everywhere.
bucks.
It was everywhere.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't know.
we'd have. Plus, we had friends that had connections with pharmacies up in like North Carolina or something that would get them, and it was
Oh. Huh.
we were getting them for like 10 cents a piece back then.
Yeah.
And I remember the day I realized that it might be a problem. We were going out riding. I had my Gixxer 750, my 01.
Jitsu.
Yeah. And we were going out to Pritchard Road because off Pritchard there's a road called Sportsman Road. It's like a mile-long road that they
Right.
never developed on, so everybody would stun out there.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I had pills, but I didn't take any. And all day I felt like kind of like I had the flu. It was like middle of summer, like, and it was. I didn't even, to be honest, I didn't even realize it then. So when I got home, I took a couple of the pain pills because my ankle. Still have pains in my ankle because one of the screws goes all the way through my bone and sticks out the other side, so it's constantly like nipping at my ligaments and tendons.
Oh
Right.
So my ankle still is like swollen 25 years later almost. And so it wasn't too bad, like at least I didn't know it. And then probably around 2003, that's when I was buying them all the like I knew I needed them.
Right.
And it was always, I'll just stop next week. I'll just stop next week.
So this is what, 2 or 3 years after you feel like you've been healed?
Yeah. So this is 3 years later, and like I said, they were just everywhere. You could go to any doctor. You could go to 5 doctors in a day.
I know about that.
I had friends.
I had those doctors.
Yeah, I had friends.
I had to be like, no.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm here for.
It wasn't just pain pills either. Like one time I was going, it's closed now, but there was like Meadowbrook or something. There was a medical doctor right in front of the Walmart.
Yeah.
It's Meadowbrook.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
Meadowbrook.
It was
or
Meadow
something.
something.
Meadow
but-
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So I went there, and me and my son's mom had just split up, and he's like, well, for some reason, I wasn't acting any different. He's like, was there anything else bothering you now? And I was like, well, I explained the situation, but it wasn't like I was,
Exactly.
I didn't care about it. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't
That
even
is-
bothered about it. Like, we broke up, oh well. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, well, here, just take these, and handed me Xanax.
Oh my gosh, that is exactly how they are.
Luckily, I did not like Xanax.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't like Xanax, so I was just selling those to get what I needed. And like I said, I had friends that would rent vans, and they would pay people that did like other drugs, like a couple $100s, and they would drive down to Fort Lauderdale, and they would hit like 6 or 7 doctors and pharmacies on the way back. And this is when OxyContin came out, like was getting big, and they were getting thousands of them.
Like they just go in there and ask the doctor, or tell
Yeah.
the doctors they needed like a medication.
Yeah, and they'd bring like 20 or 30 people,
Wow.
and they'd all get them, and they'd go to the pharmacy across the street, and they'd hit this doctor, this pharmacy, this doctor.
Wow.
It got so bad that I called a pharmacy like towards Gainesville because there was a lot of friends that like ruined doctors around here, like their chances with them. So
Right.
they'd had to kick them out for whatever reason, so they were going to Gainesville. And I knew my cousin was going there to a pharmacy getting the OxyContin at a certain price. Well, then another friend got a prescription of OxyContin, and they were so expensive, even through the pharmacy. I called the pharmacy and made a deal with the pharmacy. I said, look, I know you're giving them to this person at this price. If you can give them to this person at this price, I can guarantee you 30 more people will come to your pharmacy every month. They said, call me back in 15
Wow.
minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I called them back in 15 minutes, and they said, yeah, bring the prescription in.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, it was gnarly here. Like,
yeah, I know.
Oh
bad.
my god, I had no idea. That's like a whole like system thing going
was
on.
bad.
Wow.
it was a system without us. That's why it happened, because there was no,
like
it wasn't, nothing was linked in Florida.
legal drug dealing, basically.
Yeah, there was there was
'cause-
people flying in from Kentucky, Virginia, Ohio, all over. They were flying in, driving in,
Crazy.
hitting up all these doctors, and up there, they were double, triple the price up there
Right.
because it was real hard to get them.
So, side note. So, I think you're probably also responsible for me never taking pain pills. Honestly, because
You're welcome.
I I remember one night you gave me a what are the worst ones, the strongest ones, OxyContin. I think?
Probably Roxy or something.
It was the bad one, like
Yeah.
the one that was everyone like the heroin
Probably
one.
Oxy.
Yeah, probably.
And
Oxy and Roxy were
remember-
the same thing as Oxy, but they didn't have a time code. So Oxy had a time release like coating on them,
right,
but the Roxys did not have it.
okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I had already been drinking, and there was no disclaimer at that time.
Yeah.
It was like, here, you want one of these, and I remember taking it, and I was at a party, and I remember getting in the car, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I was that sick. I was like, I'm gonna freaking die.
Yeah.
And then
Well, back
when
then
I
we just
got
took anything.
yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I did, but that one, I specifically, I'm glad I took it because that one, and I'm glad I didn't take more than
And
one
it ruined it for you.
because it ruined it for me. I was like, no, I do not want that stuff. It makes me so violently ill.
Yeah.
And I mean, that, even when I was in the hospital for my foot, I had whatever they gave me, all that stuff, and it just sat there in the pharmacy, you know?
Yeah.
So
I wish I would have
Tylenol.
had that experience.
Yeah.
But it was pain pills they're weird. We called them a cure-all. If
Right.
you were feeling sick, you weren't sick anymore. If you were depressed, you were no longer depressed. If you're in pain, you're no longer in pain. If you're a little tired, as long as you didn't take too many, you had all the energy in the world. So like I was different. Like if I took a couple pain pills, I would go paint a whole house.
Yeah.
Like I was ready to go. It was like speed.
Right.
Until you take too many, and then, you know, well, then after the pills started getting more expensive and a little harder to find, after like all the doctors started getting shut down and stuff, then came the Oxycontin, and then came snorting the Oxycontin.
Oh, my
Right.
gosh.
So every one of us that were into it, we all had the little metal hose clamps, you know, that you tighten down on
Yeah.
the, like, hose clamp.
Right.
We'd have a broken piece of that in our wallets at all times because we'd use that to scrape down the pill instead of crushing it, because you got a finer powder and you can kind of control how much you're going to do. So if you got an Oxy 80, which was like $50, you could shave it down just enough to where you want to do your line, and, you know, all is good with the world. That's just the funny thing about it. But so I was snorting oxys and stuff like that. They were easier to find than like Lortab and Percocet at the time. So doing that, and then I remember in 2010 I was hanging out with a buddy. Well, I say buddy, but
Yeah.
one thing I always said, and what's funny about ecstasy was I always heard it had heroin in it.
Right.
What?
That's what I always
yeah.
heard. I didn't know if it did, but I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. It's got heroin in it.
Okay.
That was another
What?
thing that I don't think all of it did. I think
No,
just
there's
some of them
more
would.
more in certain
Oh,
times and-
okay. They all had different like
Mix.
pictures, I
Yeah,
think,
there was
and
all
so they
di-
knew whatever one.
I would guess that's how they stand.
They called them dirty.
Because
dirty
there were
rolls.
certain ones that
Yeah.
people searched for.
Yeah.
So I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Some
Okay.
people like the dirty ones.
But I only knew it as
And
they
I
had.
did stay away from some of, or I was
Yeah.
like, nope, I'm
I
staying
like
away from that
the
one.
more clean ones.
Yep. So that's one reason I stayed away from them too. Other than people looked ridiculous on
Yeah.
it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's just funny how it worked out in the end. But so we were at his house and we each got an Oxy 80, and he's like, "Hey man, I got fresh needles. You want to try to shoot it?" I was like,
What?
"I guess." So
I had no idea.
you didn't know that I was
I
that
had no
far,
idea.
dude?
I had
Yeah,
no idea.
I was bad. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I got into that, and the first
Wait,
time.
the needle part didn't want you to stay away from that? I don't know. I guess that's me. See, you're talking
Well,
about you want
the
to stay
thing
away
is-
from stuff.
He's a
how people
piercer.
look.
He doesn't have any problem
Okay,
with
yeah.
needles.
Because I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I hate needles.
But that was something I said I would never do. But you just get so bad that that's just
Yeah.
that's the ultimate step is that. And so did that the first time, and I was like, dude, you can have the rest, because it kind of knocked me on my butt.
Yeah.
And well, then you start falling in love with the needle.
That's almost like it's almost like the first time you've ever done it when you
Yeah.
switch like that because
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
Yeah, and it's
Goes
instant.
straight to your blood.
It's
yeah.
instant, like instant. And then, like I said, you don't really care what's going. I mean, you needed the pain medicine to not be sick, because I mean, being dope sick is horrible.
Yeah.
And so you didn't really care what went in it. Next thing you know, you're putting coke in there.
Right.
You're putting crack in there. I could never smoke crack, but it's just a weird thing. And so now you got a habit to the needle instead of just the drugs. And that got bad. And, you know, obviously by now I've pretty much lost everything. You know, I went from making crazy $80,000, $90,000 a year,
Yeah.
even more than that if you include my jewelry sales, to having everything I wanted, motorcycles, cars, friends, everything, to having nothing. And then it progressively got worse until I ended up in 2013. I was living in a tent right off College Road.
All right.
And I lived in that tent for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right by,
See, I had no idea.
Right
By
across from the,
Alice.
Oh my
yeah, there's like that
gosh.
building, like
Yeah.
little, like couple buildings right
Dog
there.
groomer and the gas
Yeah,
station.
right behind the
Yeah.
dog groomer.
Yeah.
So I
It's
was
still there.
Is it?
Yeah.
we when we drove by, I was like, oh, there's my old house,
Yeah,
and I was
right.
like, oh, wait, I think I missed it already.
Oh my
But so I was there, and like I've been to jail.
Were there like other people living?
There was like 2 other people, and then one of them left. So it was actually me and my youngest brother at first, and then he went and found some place to stay, and I was out there still. And it was me and that other guy. And this other guy, he had like a mansion. He had like a full, like, it was crazy. Like
tent mansion.
TV,
10 by 10
generator,
campy.
like, dude, it was insane. Like, he had like
Great.
different
God. Oh, he was
rooms.
glamping.
He was
You know the
glamorously homeless.
yeah,
Wow.
you know the little village over in Argyle off like Blanding and 295.
I know there was one
So-
off Wells for a while.
So there's so right in that area, the what is it, McGurt's Creek or
yeah,
whatever.
McGirt.
There's a bunch of homeless in there,
Mhm.
but for a while on the other side of the street, over by on the side where the car wash
Yeah.
and Starbucks is, it was like an Ewok village. It was amazing. There was like Christmas
You could
lights
see
and the
lights when you
trees,
drive
and there
by
was
through there.
they had up like the
Platforms and stuff.
platforms and stuff like an Ewok village, and it was hidden the whole summer. And then
it
when
would
the
fall.
trees
Yeah.
started dying out, you could see it. And then the police found out about it. They
Yeah.
made them take it down. But not only they were harvesting like electric from like one of the buildings, they had
Oh,
like
sure.
a
We're thinking
1,000-foot
electricity.
extension cord. But they're pretty innovative
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, me, I never really got into it. I just had a tent with a tarp over it.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
like,
air-
damn it, I
like-
gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I wasn't into it. That's,
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Doing with this microphone, it keeps falling.
Like a straw. Oh, yeah,
Like-
sorry.
Can-
You just got to do that.
I'll notice that when it's like way down here and I
Yeah.
don't hear myself. I'm like,
I got to
fuck.
tighten it up.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway.
go ahead.
No, you're fine. So, I was in that tent for about 2 years, and then in like May, towards the end of May, I was just tired of it, and like I'd been to jail and said I'm never doing that again when I get out, and as soon as I hit the streets, I'm high again, and it was never ending. So I made a post on Facebook asking if anybody had anything I could do for money to get a bus ticket, because I had a cousin who lived in Ohio that I hadn't seen in 20 years. And she said, if you can get up here, you can stay with me. So I had a buddy reach out on Facebook. He's like, would you go tonight? I said, yeah. Like, I'm ready to go. I woke up that day just completely tired of that life. Like, done. So he came and picked me up a couple hours later, had a bus ticket for me, gave me a couple $100, went, stopped and see my mom, and then I got 2 pain pills just so I wasn't sick on the bus ride.
Right.
So I got to Ohio, was clean. I was there from like the beginning of June until the Thanksgiving Day, actually. Because what happened was me and my cousin stopped getting along like around September, and I moved out with a friend I had met there, and I was clean the entire time I was there, and I was working through a temp service, and I didn't have a license, didn't have a car, and the place I was working at, they had layoffs, and I was a temp, so I got laid off, and it was snowing pretty good at that time, so I didn't want to burden him with me living there and not knowing when I could go get another job.
Right.
So I got on a bus, came back here on Thanksgiving Day, and literally as soon as I got here, I was high. As soon as I got here. And I was here for about 6 months. I think it's about 6 months. Till May of 2015. So that was 2014. I don't know if I said 15. That was 2014. Then May of 2015, I got on a bus again, went to Ohio. This time I didn't have a place to go because my cousin, she had her daughter and her granddaughter living in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Right.
So I just went up there with, trying to figure it out. And I was staying in like abandoned houses wherever I could. And I got up there. I started working a little bit. I made a post on Facebook asking if anybody had a room for rent that I could rent. And somebody, a friend of mine from 20 years before from here, who lived in Colorado at the time, messaged me and said, hey, I think my sister-in-law has an apartment there that run down, but if you do a little bit of work, she'll probably let you live there cheaper for free. Sure enough, her sister-in-law had an apartment in that town. A town I never heard, Newark, Ohio. Like, the only Newark I knew of is Jersey.
Yeah. Right.
And it was just weird how that worked. So I was there for a little bit. 2 months after I moved there, I seen this girl popped up on my Facebook, so I shot my shot. She's sitting over there now.
I hear giggling.
I shot my shot, and at first she's like, no. Well, then one night I was on Facebook, it was late, and I get a message that said, go to bed. And it was her. So we started dating about 2 months after I moved
was she
there.
like next spying on you? Like,
It was probably that,
you're still awake. Go to
she
bed.
probably seen, like, went to messages or something and seen, like, the
checking in on you.
little green dot was next to my name or something like that.
Makes sense.
And
why are you online?
yeah, so she messaged me that, and then we started talking, started dating, and then I actually relapsed, but it was with Suboxone. She caught me.
So were you when you first met?
I was clean.
Were you still like? Were you working or?
I was like working for a
Temporary
temp
stuff?
service,
Okay,
yeah, and she's never done drugs or really been around them, so she didn't know how to deal with somebody that was fresh in recovery, and so she caught me doing that because I was just stressed out and like I didn't want to use, so I was like, well, if I take this, I can't use because it blocks it.
Right.
So that was my thought process. It wasn't the best thought process, but that was my thought process. And then she left, and now I'm like by myself, and I cleaned up my act again. I was working and doing all this, and we ended up right before Christmas. I was at a bar because my buddy was DJing. A buddy of mine was DJing at a bar, and I was there, and I had my phone in my hand. Next thing I know, I get a text that said, go to bed. I knew it was her. I didn't know the number, but I knew it was her.
Right.
She had got a new number by now. And so we met up again, started dating again. We were living together, but we were kind of fighting all the time because she didn't know how to trust me, and I was tired of not being trusted, so we were fighting all the time, which ended up I relapsed again because, you know, for the last couple of years I was here, I was actually on heroin. I guess I skipped that part.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
so that's a
usually
big
that's
part.
the,
Yeah, that's the
progression.
next step after the Oxycontin because heroin, you know, a $20 bag will last you longer than a $50 pill will. So I ended up working at some of these, like, the factories they send temps to aren't usually the best factories. It's usually where all the people are that, you know, fresh out of jail
Yeah.
or drug addicts, stuff like that. So I met somebody, and we were fighting all the time. I was actually sleeping in a different room because we were fighting all the time. Well, I used, and I left the house, and she went into the room I was in, and she found a spoon and a needle. So we broke up again. I actually went to a shelter, a homeless shelter, because I had nowhere else to go. She made up her mind. And so while I was at the shelter, I was like, I got to get this stuff together. Sorry.
Right.
I got to get it together. And I started getting it together. I was only there a few weeks, and we decided to give it another try. I moved back in. I've been clean ever since. So, I don't even really count those two little relapses. I always just say 10 years, coming up on 10 years.
Wow, nice.
But
Awesome.
if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be clean. Like, it'd be, I might be, but it'd be a lot harder.
Yeah.
Like, I had, and then we fought
Thank you, Megan.
we fought a little bit more after that. We went from our apartment to our house, and I can remember our last fight. It was a pretty bad one. one that I said, take me to the bus station, because I still didn't have a license or a car or anything like that.
Right.
And it was snowing, roads were horrible, and the bus station's in Columbus. We're like 45 minutes from it. She drove me there. I got out of the car. I even threw my cell phone, because we were on a shared plan. I even threw my cell phone back in the car. So now, if she drives away, there's no contact.
Right.
Like, unless I find it payphones are non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
So luckily for me, she circled the block and came back.
Right.
And that was our last big fight. I told her, I said, I need you to trust me. Like, I'm not doing anything. She realized that, and we haven't, besides little bickering, we haven't been in a fight since 2017.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
I think we just had one like Friday. No, just kidding.
Yeah, we don't fight. She gets on my nerves sometimes, but I think she tries to push my buttons, though. Yeah, we barely even bicker, to be honest. But we have our system. When we're at the house together, she stays downstairs doing what she's doing, and I'm upstairs doing God knows what.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah,
but you're clean.
I'm clean, yeah.
That's
I don't even drink. And it's not because I ever had a problem with drinking. I could start drinking right now, and it's never been an issue.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what do you get? You get a hangover.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. Like, the hangovers are horrible.
The older you
no.
get, man, I know
Seriously.
finding out, like,
Bad.
man, I can't
That's
drink
why
like I used to.
I can only drink one, like we had beer last night, and
Yeah, I'm not even, like,
I just don't overdo
beer's
it
just,
anymore.
like,
Yeah.
loading.
I tried to have a drink.
Sorry.
I can tell you the last, like, handful of times I drank. I took her on her first cruise September 2023, and I was so excited to get a Miami Vice. It's a because the only time it's okay for a dude to have a frozen drink is on a cruise.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And that's what we
The
used to
umbrella
drink.
and stuff.
We used to do group cruises back in the early 2000s with the guys from Bennigan's, like Chris and all them
Oh,
from
I
Bennigan's.
remember Bennigan's.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to do
Good
cruises.
times.
That's the first time we got maced.
Yes.
Pepper spray.
Well,
when she
somebody
was
got
pregnant.
maced.
Was that at
I wasn't pregnant.
was that
I don't
at a
think.
St. Patty's Day
Am I-
thing? Yeah, I remember that.
No, I don't think it was.
No,
I
we
think
were
it was
just there having dinner,
what
but
was the-
somebody got maced because
yeah.
there was a fight or something,
They
and I
had
got a
like
whiff
a-
of it.
like a CJ's night or
Yeah, they had
what
karaoke
night
and
was
stuff.
it? It was karaoke, but it was
Yeah.
like a certain night anyway.
It was like Tuesday
it was
or
always
Thursday.
crowded.
Yeah. Well,
And-
Sunday night was always crowded because everything in Orange Park shut down at 12.
Yeah.
I
So-
think I was pregnant.
And you were pregnant because we had just come back from Missouri, right? No.
This is when I was pregnant with Mason. This
Okay. Maybe were you pregnant with?
It would have been 2000. 2000.
Anyway, you were pregnant, so
It
I
would have
thought
been
we were just
2001.
coming back from somewhere.
It was around then,
yeah.
right?
So
Because they closed in 2004. I
Yep.
believe.
Okay, so that would have been around 2001. I
So-
was pregnant with Mason.
yeah,
Yeah, because
so-
I remember freaking out, thinking, "Oh my god,
We were
Yeah.
standing there.
smell!"
Oh, I can
Turn
imagine.
that
Yeah.
from there off because it's blowing.
I don't know where the
pollen
thing is.
straight in my face. I think because I'm like, ugh.
I don't know where the thing is.
But yeah. Anyway, we got residual pepper.
Oh my
sprayed.
gosh! I mean,
it was bad.
The people
We're like
probably where
collateral
the door
damage.
is. That's how
Yeah.
close. That's how far it was. And
Yeah.
so when they did that, I was like,
That
Like
pepper spray
choking.
will get you.
Crazy.
"Oh my gosh!" But anyways, what were you talking
Anyway.
about?
I don't even remember.
Bennigan's
sorry, dang it.
cruise.
Oh yeah. So that's what we used to drink on the cruises back then. Was Miami Vice. It's half pina colada and half strawberry daiquiri, like down the middle.
Right.
So it's like white on one side, red on the other. They were great.
Oh, sounds.
I got one on that cruise. I took like 2 sips out of it. I was like, "Here, finish this for me," because it's horrible. Like,
Yeah.
I just
Oh, sometimes they're too sweet, and those will
Yeah.
give you a hangover if you have.
I just don't even like the taste of alcohol. Well, I never really like the taste of alcohol, like liquor.
Yeah.
I do
Right.
shots and stuff, but
Yeah.
I always
like
had
that.
training wheels and stuff.
I drink.
Yeah.
I have my rum and I like rum and Jaeger.
Do you remember
That's
that shot? Oh, Jaeger. I can't even smell Red
Oh,
Bull
gosh.
because it reminds me
Right?
of Jaeger bombs.
Oh yeah,
So
that's all we
gross.
do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
It's
why I
like
don't
Rusty
like Red
Shine's the band drink.
Yeah.
For
Do you
all
remember
of us.
that drink or that shot that we used to do at CJ's, the Sweet Jesus?
Yes, I do. I
Half
also remember
Southern
you
Comfort.
buying all the friggin'
Jello shots.
No, the test tubes.
Yeah, well,
Those are
either
terrible.
those or the Jello shots.
Yeah.
I'd buy
Oh my
like
God, they're horrible.
I'd buy the whole tray of them
Yeah.
all the time and just start handing them out.
Those were the days.
Yeah, that's back
and
when I
no
was the man.
hangovers. Like, I
Oh,
would-
up the next day.
Oh my God, I don't know how we did it,
I don't either.
but yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like when you guys were talking on the podcast, like before, I was like, I was there for that.
Yeah.
I was there for
right?
that. I was there for that.
Heck yeah. So what's going on now? Seems like you're
Oh, you
in
know,
pretty
just
good shape.
living
now.
like not in the best shape. I'm
Well,
round.
I mean, yeah, that's a good shape.
But, yeah,
Happy shape.
I mean, so we started dating in 2015. So coming up on 10 years, August 4th. A lot of fours in our relationship.
Yeah.
First date was August 4th. I proposed to her on 4/8. We got married on 8/24. A lot of fours.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought about that a couple of years ago, but no. So we started coming down here in 2018. My mom was living in Middleburg, and we come down because it was an easy trip. You know, plus I'd been gone for like 3 years, and you know, we just get down here. We used to fly down and just use my mom's car while we were in town, and 2019 we were actually married in my mom's backyard.
Aw.
Nice.
Well, two main reasons. One is I'm up there, so my mom doesn't get to spend Christmas or anything like
Yeah.
that with us. But two, it was a way for us to not have to invite a bunch of people to a wedding.
Yeah.
that was her
True.
main. That was
Yeah.
her main reason.
like
She never
eloping-
wanted it. She never
eloping
wanted
without eloping.
Yeah, she never wanted a big wedding. So after we got engaged, I reached out to my best friend Danny and said, "Hey man, get ordained." So he got ordained. He was supposed to come up there to do it, but we decided to do it down here. It was small, like just him, my mom, a cousin, my brother, his girlfriend, and then my best friend since 4th grade and his little brother, the one that was driving me around in my Silverado
Right.
until I got tired of him driving around. I learned how to drive left-footed. But they came from Clearwater and Pensacola. Hadn't seen them in over 20 years either, because you know everybody gave up on me.
Yeah.
My my mom never did, but my family never wanted to see me, friends, and now when I come to town, everybody wants to see us.
Yeah.
You know, like my aunt and uncle, they're wanting to see us so bad that they want to go to dinner tonight.
Aw.
Well, you know what's
Great.
Let me interrupt. The thing that's the worst part about that is like being your friend when you're in those times. It's like
You can't do anything about it,
We
though.
want to help,
But you
know.
can't.
It's like, but we know what's going to happen, and it's like it's such a weird like catch-22
Yeah.
because you're like,
Yeah.
I really want to help you. But is it really helping? It's never helping
It'll-
because you're just doing your thing. You know, it's like, I guess
An addict's never going to quit until they want to quit.
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Because
I mean, it's like
I
her
try to
aunt-
quit. I try to quit so many times for everybody. You know, I want to be good for my mom. I want, you know, I tried all that. It never
Yeah.
worked. So
gotta
until
be
you're
for you.
ready, it's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we got married in 2019. We've been coming down every year, and then 2023. I know it gets boring for her because, you know, same thing every year. So 2023, I was like, well, we'll spend a couple days in Florida, and we'll go on a little short cruise. And then I unleashed a monster. And then I have another full-time job at
Yeah.
thrifting.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a
I
thrift
bet that's awesome.
aholic. It's fun.
It sounds like fun.
It's real fun.
You need a YouTube channel.
I love 13.
Yeah, I thought about doing something like that,
There's a lot of them out there, but
but we're kind of. I don't really go to the racks anymore. That's what we call the brick and mortar
Oh, yeah.
places. We call them racks that's the
you know
slang.
it'd be cool. You
What
know it'd
would
be cool to do? To have you and all the guys you were talking about do like a channel with each one of you, like your own individual kind of a team and what you do. I bet people would love that. you know?
Probably.
Like have it all linked up and
Yeah,
everything.
there's about 4 of us,
where
4
you're
or
like
5 that
fighting
sit in
over
the same
stuff
place.
and stuff.
Well, that's
or
the thing.
whatever.
We that's why we don't like to tell a lot of people where we're at, because
Yeah.
if you go to the ones in other places, people fight.
Yeah,
They fight.
Crazy.
But they're Goodwill bins, Goodwill outlets.
Yeah.
And the one we go to, we don't have any of that. Like, sometimes a new person will come from another, like, area, and they'll attempt it, but we're like, no, we don't do that here. If something comes out on top and me and somebody else sees it, we coin flip for it.
Right.
That way, we're not fighting over it. You know, whoever wins it, wins it. Then later on in the day, if you find something else, you can trade for that or whatever.
So you all, like, wait until they, like, release it or something?
So
and then it's like...
different places do it differently. Ours does it the right way, where they have yellow tape down each aisle. There's 6 rows. Each row has 7 bins, and you got to stand behind the yellow tape until they lock the last one in place and they say go, and then you go into the bins.
That's so interesting.
So, like,
I'd love to, like, see that. Just
yeah,
like
we walk up and down, like, as they're bringing them down, you'll see us step into the next one. Then as soon as somebody sees something, they'll stand in front of that one and stay there while the rest of us keep going. And then it's just a matter of, sometimes you got to dig to find stuff.
And there's all kinds of
sometimes you
stuff
don't.
in there, or is it only clothing?
So they do, normally, it's, this wire was just sticking to me. Normally, so there's 6 rows. There's actually 8 rows. There's 2 rows with 3 bins that never changes throughout the day. They push them out in the morning, and they stay there all day. It's 2 with shoes, 2 with books, and 2 with like bags, like purses, backpacks, and hats. So I get there right before they open, so I can go through the bags and look for hats. Like, I found some, $200-$300 hats in there a couple times.
Wow.
I usually sell them before I leave because I post it to my Instagram story and somebody will buy it from me.
So do you?
Yeah, see, that's
So do you,
awesome.
So do
What
you
is
think
your Instagram handle?
At retro.
16 people can know it.
You got like 80, 60 or 80.
I know, we're doing pretty good,
80
actually.
subs now, buddy.
Yeah.
I was there from
This is going to be a good one. From
One.
the beginning. Yes.
one.
So what is the? It's a YouTube channel.
No, it's Instagram. It's
Instagram.
at retro to now, but it's at
Number 2.
retro _ the number 2. I guess my face needs to be seen. So it's just at retro _ the number 2 now.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's just 1 _
So what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The
You
Goodwill
find all
bins.
kinds of good
So the
stuff.
Goodwill bins, are those priced like
By the
cheaper?
pound.
Is it like, so it's a cheaper place to go than the regular Goodwill, because Goodwill can get pretty expensive.
Oh, you should see
Nowadays.
ours.
So these
should see
bins,
ours.
the bins places, I haven't been. I probably once.
It's all by the
years
pound.
ago.
So like
Okay.
ours up there is it was $1.59 a pound. Now it's $1.69 a pound for clothes and hard goods, and it's like 49 cents a pound for books. And then they have a little 99-cent section over in the corner
Okay.
with like a lot of the bigger stuff or glass, stuff like that. It's not a big section, but I found some bangers in there. Like, I found
I
an
wanna
old
go.
Marantz.
Sounds
No, seriously. We
I
need
found
to
an
check
old,
out
Yeah.
there's one on Lentz here.
Beep.
Okay, I'll tell you. Actually, I remember.
Have you been there?
I was going to go, but I just have too much stuff to
Yeah.
do.
I have been to one once, because I do remember when we went, we were digging through and there was a Madagascar roach.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
No, I remember it.
Huge one. I was like, I'm done. Nope, not digging through this anymore.
Ours, we have
It was
have
like that
crazy.
big. It was
Yeah.
like the Rogan,
old
the
Madagascar
ones on
roach.
Fear
Yeah.
Factor.
It was so great. I'm like, what?
we
Is this somebody's pet?
Seriously.
we have stink
Somebody donated.
bugs.
Yeah.
Oh,
There,
so great.
especially in the summertime, like almost all the bins will have stink bugs in them.
Okay, so see, now I don't
you
know
just
if I
gotta
do want to
wear
do
gloves.
that.
Just wear gloves.
Maybe, but I
We
can just
go.
see it. Like, I'm just afraid something's going to be crawling up. No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean it's just something you get used to.
Hey, but I guess it's worth it because you find really good stuff.
Yeah, I've found some really good stuff in there. Even though a lot of times my buddy he won't ever let me leave with the good stuff. He is always like, because he knows I work a full-time job, so he knows that I don't really have to like get top dollar,
Right.
which I don't ever. Even on my eBay, I never. If I see a shirt that I found that sells for $200, I'll sell it for $100, $150. I don't care. You know, if I
Yeah.
found that shirt for $5,
right?
you know, like
Yeah.
you make money off of it. I've sold so many things at half, if not less than half, of what they're actually worth.
I thought that mold was pretty cool. That skull.
That
mold you
mask,
found?
yeah, that was a Don Post Studios mask.
Yeah.
It was originally molded in 1967. The one
Was
I
it
found,
Halloween, or?
it's from Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It was one of the 3 masks in that movie. There was the skull, a witch, and a pumpkin, I believe, jack-o'-lantern.
Right.
I don't know a ton about masks. I know a little, and I couldn't find that exact one. I found out later that the base vinyl is a vinyl mask. The base vinyl was brown, but it's called chocolate vinyl, not brown vinyl. All the ones I were finding were dated 1977. They still had the 1967 like original date. Mine was 1976, and theirs were always like a black vinyl. Mine was a brown vinyl. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it on there for $200. It sold in like 2 minutes, and I realized that I
Nice.
priced it a little too low.
Wow.
I had somebody message me the next day. He's like, "Hey man, that mask is worth more than that. If you cancel that order, I'll give you $300." I'm like, "I appreciate your offer, but how would you feel if you just got a really
Exactly.
good deal on
Right?
a mask
Aw, that would
and
be
then you got it
messed
canceled for no
Yeah.
reason just
Oh.
for somebody to sell it for more?"
up. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, my buddy up there, anytime I find something cool and he wants it, I gotta sell it to him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I charge him about 50% of what it's worth, sometimes a little bit more, because I gotta have cool stuff to put on my eBay to draw attention to. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta have stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time. I enjoy doing it.
Sounds like
Yeah,
fun.
sounds
So much so
You
that
love thrifting too, but you've got like a knack for it. I mean, you have like a ability to spot stuff. You know.
that's
I'll
because
sit there
I
and
go
look
every
through-
day.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
well, I
say,
know.
yeah, once you're
I know.
going some often.
I mean, you've told me some things, and I'm like going through T-shirts. I'm like, what the heck, man? I can't do this.
Yeah.
But
I think I broke the microphone.
that's all right.
Uh-oh.
I think we're probably
Yeah, I think we're done.
about to
I
wrap
guess.
it up
Done here,
anyway.
folks.
We are done.
Megan's probably bored over there.
She's got TikTok.
Oh yeah. Oh god. She's scrolling.
Yeah,
Do that
TikTok.
for-
Boy,
what is
when that
mind rot.
when that TikTok ban was coming,
Oh.
Oh, someone was mad.
oh, she was devastated. Especially when they shut it down like the night before.
Oh, yeah.
I
don't
was
have
upstairs
TikTok,
and I
so
heard
don't
her
know.
yell, "Oh no!"
I can imagine.
But it
Yeah,
came back
we'll-
pretty quick.
We'll sit there at night instead of watching a movie. She'll be in her chair and I'll be right next to her. We'll be sitting memes to each other, cracking up. We're like, what the heck? We're literally right here. but
Well,
it's-
sometimes you're in the bathroom,
I mean,
and
that
you're there for a
happens,
while,
so-
so
Yeah.
just
I
like,
usually
and then
don't-
I'm in the bathroom
Videos.
laughing.
I usually don't scroll TikTok until she sends me a TikTok video, and then I get stuck scrolling for a
Yes,
minute.
Yeah, right.
I know.
It's addictive.
they're
But you
hilarious.
learn
So-
so much that's hidden from us.
Oh, yeah, I can go down those rabbit holes.
Yeah,
Oh, yes. I've been down a few of those.
Yes. But anyway,
I made
this has
money
been
on
awesome.
TikTok.
You what?
Nice.
I made money on TikTok.
Did you really?
Okay.
Like $100-$200.
Is that the one video you're talking about?
Yeah, it's all political.
See, you need to hone in on that, man.
Yeah, I probably had to change it though, because these thrifter kids, man, they're not into
Oh yeah.
Nope.
they're not into
know.
the Trump
No,
guy.
like
the
the
youngins
band-
do not like
Like the
that.
band people, they don't like that either.
Depends on the band.
Drummer
Yeah,
wanted.
that's true.
Just kidding.
That's true. Depends on the band.
But yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to
Well,
it.
that
Yes,
is awesome.
awesome.
I am so
Yeah,
glad that
almost
you,
10 years
I'm so
Well, we're
glad.
glad to have you back amongst the
living.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
was like, what
good.
happened to pork chop?
I know.
Yeah,
Now
I
we
vanished
know.
to Central Ohio. Now I say pop
Oh yeah.
and oop.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Oop.
What is that?
That's when
Like
you
if you're
accidentally
surprised?
bump into somebody, or like you come around
My
the
bad.
corner, like two of you come around the corner and you almost bump into each other. You go, oop.
What do they say out here? Oh, you're good. That's like the new one. Oh,
Or
you're
excuse
good.
me. I mean, excuse me.
Yeah, but now it's like everyone's
I-
saying, "Oh, you're good. You're good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries. That's what I say.
Before we quit,
Anyway.
though, I do want to argue these 2 points. One is You know these people up there call a vacuum cleaner a sweeper? And they say I'm going to sweep the carpet
What?
with a vacuum cleaner.
Okay,
Nope.
well, yeah.
It's a
That's-
vacuum. It's not a sweeper. And then pop. That was my biggest argument when I went up there.
Like,
And now I
like
say pop.
Soda pop.
Soda.
Yeah, now I say pop.
My dad was from Michigan, and he said like root beer. How do I say roof?
Roof.
Roof.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
that's-
I'm trying
it's
to
a
try
roof.
to correct it because my
The
kids
kids would always
correct me.
it's
Roof
roof,
up on the
Dad.
roof.
Roof.
The roof.
Yeah, it's up on the roof.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of them, but yeah.
Bub.
Do they say wash?
Hey,
I
bub.
just say a Coke.
No, they say wash, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard somewhere up north they say wash.
That's somewhere
That sounds
else.
more like
Boston or
like
something.
Boston or New
I don't know.
York
I
or
thought
New
maybe
Jersey.
that was
Are you a
pack
knock?
more East
Pack the
Coast.
car.
Are you a
in the car
knock?
park.
I'm going to the bar. In
The
my
studio's
car.
pretty cool though.
It's not very far.
Thanks.
Thank
Pretty
you.
trippy.
Yeah, we love it. We're pretty trippy people.
So we're gonna go tip some 40s to our homies.
Yeah, we should.
And then you'll have a. What are you doing with it after?
So I'm gonna make lamps out of them. Some gangsta.
Lamps.
Some Ice Cube lamps. Maybe Ice Cube will buy one.
Has some leopard print.
I'm making one for him. I'll probably keep one, and then I'll sell one for like 10 grand.
There you go.
For
Yeah,
like
because you have a
to
third
Ice
one.
Cube
So
or
you're
something.
gonna make.
They were
3
actually
lamps?
cheap too.
Yeah.
I got 3 of those and a fountain drink for like $9.
Jeez. That's awesome.
As soon as I told
Ugh.
Megan the price, she goes, "Oh, so it's crap beer, huh?"
It just
Oh
makes
yeah,
me
I'm sure.
it just makes me gag looking at it. I'm like, ugh. But we
Yeah,
used
I
to
don't know
live
about
off that stuff.
But it's not right. We need paper bags.
Yeah, you're right.
All the-
That'll be a separate. We'll do a TikTok video of that.
Oh, God.
Anyway, thanks for watching,
Thanks
y'all.
for watching.
Thanks for coming out.
oh yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the video.
We're like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more craziness like that.
And share.
We're
You
supposed
gotta
to do
share.
that. Yeah,
Please
share.
share.
Share the video.
Share the video.
And if you can't subscribe, you should sign up for YouTube so you can subscribe.
Oh yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's just
that
a
they
couple
do that.
clicks.
Yeah,
They
it's
should
really
do
not that hard.
the guest thing when you go to pay a bill. Pay as a guest. You should be able to watch YouTube as a guest.
Well, you can.
You can, but it's
yeah,
like
but you can't subscribe.
Oh,
yeah, it's
yeah.
like
Have to
kind
do
of
that.
through like
Yeah.
Safari or something like that, like one of those like
I'm an
Google
idiot.
things.
My bad. Yeah.
Those are annoying though because sometimes somebody will like post a video and you go to watch it and you're like, oh, I want to subscribe to this, and then you got to go try to find it on YouTube, and you could type in literally exactly what it is, who it is, and you'll have to try to find it from there.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it never just pops up.
Yeah. It's because the algorithm.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Anyway.
I think we're done
All right.
here,
Yes,
folks.
thank
See y'all.
you.
Woo,
Thank
high five. Yes. That was awesome.
Fun times. Paw, we love you. Paw.